So pretty much any essential oil is going to be effective when it comes to battling pests and diseases of the colony. But there's a lot more intricacy involved when it comes to choosing which ones to use, and especially when it comes to the dosage. And then delivery system is a whole new monster in and of itself. This is going to be the third video, the follow-up to parts 1 and 2 of battling Varroa mite with essential oils based on what I have experienced myself. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. So one thing I really didn't talk about in my first 2 videos was all the research I did beforehand on choosing the essential oils that I chose. There were several factors involved. I want to let you guys know what those are briefly, so that if you choose to go this route, you can kind of have an idea of how to take it on yourself for your own research and not just simply take someone else's word for it. So I chose to do this video over by my old queen bank, which is no longer queen bank. They've officially got their own queen now. She's not mated yet, but it's the only place I really had some shade. My apiary and my shed in the front here are in full sun, and it's hot late July. All right, so anyways, getting to it, essential oils. So before I ever made those first 2 videos, I did a lot of research to find out which oils were effective on the closest I could come to for Varroa and beetles, larvae, that kind of thing, because there's not really much research out there on this for Varroa. There is some, there just wasn't a lot. So I kind of had to approach it with my understanding of Varroa in mind. And I also had to look up and make sure that if this was an effective oil, was it something that harmed honeybees? And so that was one consideration that I had to make. The second consideration I made, because I really had to narrow down how many oils I was going to get. This is just a sample. I think I narrowed it down to like, I don't know, 18 or 19, but I had like 30 on my list because really they're all effective in their own different way. Some are more potent, some have different effects. Like lemongrass oil, it's an attractant for honeybees to come to a swarm trap. Are there any other attractants? I don't know, probably, maybe. But I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for things that would be effective in controlling Varroa mite. So I was looking at the energy, the essence of each individual oil. Was it a more active oil in its effectiveness, or was it more passive? Something that had more effect over time. And so once I chose my group of oils, I decided to group them into passive and active groups and then use that concoction during that type of season. For example, summer, it's more of an active season. It's warm, things are happening, you're getting things done. So I would choose the more active, energetically active essential oils. And in the winter, when it's time for rest, recuperation, I would choose the more passive ones, because that's when the bees are in, all the bees are in the hive the most. And so I wouldn't want something overly aggressive in the colony when they're there to just cozy up and stay warm for the winter time. So I had to take that into account as well. And I think the biggest challenge was finding an appropriate delivery system. I got a lot of great suggestions in the comments for the first 2 videos about other things to try, like Swedish sponges, you know, something that could soak up the oil, not drip it, and also not wear out too soon, and also be something the bees couldn't get their legs stuck in and die. So that was the final consideration before I started making those videos and applying what I had learned actively into the colony, and that's what you guys got to see in there. So now I've come to a conclusion, and that's what prompted this final video, because I've had a lot of questions. Those essential oil videos against Varroa mite get a lot of hits, because all of us want to figure this out. We all want to do our best to help our bees defend against Varroa, but probably even more than that, it's probably a safe bet to say that you want to eradicate them completely. And I think someday we will. This might have a small part, might have a big part to play in it. I don't know yet. But before I tell you what I concluded and tell you how I have approached it since those last videos, I wanted to tell you I just wanted to give you an example of some of the oils that I have. So this one is white thyme. I didn't use a lot of that one. We've got spearmint right here. Oregano, very effective. Tea tree oil, also very effective. And peppermint. This one would be more of a passive over the long haul kind of essential oil. And then one of the other things I had to consider was a quality brand that was within the budget I was trying to stay inside of. So the main brand I stayed within was Majestic Pure Cosmeceuticals. And then the ones I couldn't find in that, I went with Sun Essential Oils. I'm sure some of you out there are like, those are crap. But you know what? It's what I had, it's what I'm using, and that's that. So if you know of a better one, you've got a budget that you can do that with, go ahead and get what you think is the best. But in the meantime, this is what I used. And so I got to a point where I really didn't test a better delivery system. I know that essential oils are effective against Varroa mite, but so is my oxalic acid vaporizer, one that I can clearly see the results of very fast. This I feel like should be more of a supplement to oxalic acid vaporization, and mostly being because I'm not a scientist. I don't know appropriate dosage. I don't even want to test and see what that might be. I'm not going to do a mite count to figure this out. That's just not the way I want to keep bees. And which oils do I use? Which oils do I not? They're all so effective. You can only use so many. And one really cool thing about essential oils is that when you use one, and it's very effective, but when you use another with it, their effects compound. In other words, they grow. The more you use, herbs tend to compound their abilities upon one another. It's like Superman joining up with the Flash, although I don't know if there's a point to that because they're both so fast. Anyways, it would give Flash super strength, but it wouldn't do anything harmful to Superman. Anyways, you get the idea. Or maybe Wolverine. So anyways, essential oils, herbs, all that kind of stuff compounds when you pair it with others of similar use. So in the end, I've decided to kind of just put these on the shelf. Maybe I'll experiment again one day. But like I said, my oxalic acid vaporizer, my Varroa control frames, which is a video I'll link up here, and my screen bottom boards, they're really effective when I do those treatments on time in the spring, a little bit through the summer, and then again in the fall. I'm pretty happy with where my mite levels are at with the methods I'm using. This experiment, I wouldn't say it failed, but it did come to a stop, at least on my end. I encourage you, if this is your thing, keep going. And then when you find something effective, share it if you want to. I'd be more than happy to listen and to see what you have. But like I said, I'm not a scientist, just a beekeeper trying to figure it out like the rest of you. So with that said, I bid you adieu and thank you for joining me again here with the Hive Doctor. Hive Doctor out.